learn everything in a garden. Everything you can teach you, writing, reading, science, math, everything can be done right here if you can be a little bit thinking outside the box of a traditional classroom wall.
Or our goal as a task force was to have 50% of our classrooms throughout the district use this classroom or the garden at some point this school year.
One of the barriers that we face in doing school garden work is that even the teachers, in many cases, are a generation removed from gardening. So a key barrier that we needed to eliminate was that fear of going outside themselves, and especially of taking their students outside.
We tried to incorporate PD as a part of this project for teachers that may or may not be comfortable either with the pedagogy of teaching outside or even the content knowledge of what they would be teaching outside.
It's something that language arts or drama can do along with science.
Our article was Loco for Cocoa, and basically it's the history of chocolate.
And a lot of people don't, when you think of environment or agriculture, you don't think history.
I really want it to be have a class that's outside and be in the garden, but I don't have any of those this year. So maybe when I'm a senior next year, I'll take AP Bio.
Cover ecological concepts, we cover plant concepts, we have complete units that we do on that sort of stuff. So being able to come to the garden and see the application of those different things with those particular units and subject areas is something that would be very useful.
Okay, so last week, guys, we were talking about the scientific method, okay?
The school garden is a great way to teach concepts that are key in state learning standards, especially for science. Concepts like cycles or energy flow. For example, having students learn how compost is made is a great way to teach them about decomposition. School gardens can use compost then to feed back to build the soil in their garden beds. Environmental education has been shown to improve students' test scores across all subject areas.
Especially with haiku poetry, since they're poems about nature. A kid wrote about the grass, they wrote about sitting in the shade, they wrote about things in the garden. And as far as descriptive writing, be able to see what they're describing, pick it up and feel it, and I think it's very important to that.
We've had special ed teachers that have said they really want to turn this into maybe something that some of their students can use to think about hands-on, tangible ways of how things grow, and maybe even taking measurements.
I think that it's a perfect correlation to family consumer sciences, which is the old home economics, and gardening.
My classes did a lot of the filling of the beds. The manual labor was something new for quite a few of them, just kind of getting down and dirty. I mean, it was interesting to see the kids that really just jumped in and just were like, this is so much, very hands-on, and that's what we're trying to do all the time in schools, is try to find ways to make things more hands-on, and this was just a great opportunity.
Because when you're in real life, you're not going to have books. You need to be able to do it.
The farming demographic is aging, and there are no young farmers to replace those farmers that are retiring. I think this project is really important in helping to build a community of young people that are interested in farming and making that a career.
One day I was out there with them, and I asked them how many had ever had asparagus, and there were probably 20 students out there, and there might have been 2 or 3 that knew what asparagus was. And then it was like 2 or 3 days later they came out, and I showed them, this is where this stalk was, remember the other day when you came out? And it had grown like 2 or 3 inches, and I mean, they were like, wow, this is just so awesome, because you can almost stand and watch asparagus grow.
Research has shown that nutrition lessons in combination with gardening activities yielded a greater increase in vegetable preference of students than nutrition lessons alone.
Before, I didn't really like touching vegetables and all that stuff and gardening, but now as I experienced it, I like doing it now, so I do it at home. Well, I'm growing tomatoes and carrots at home.
Showing them where their food comes from helps them to feel more connected with with nature, and maybe being a little bit more excited about how things grow.
I've heard multiple times they come out and they see things and they're like, wait, this is what that looks like? And it's like, yeah, like this is what you eat. This is where it comes from, and they don't realize those sorts of things.
One of the first times we were out here, a student found a little garter snake, and that was just the coolest thing ever. Well, cool for about 80% and screamy for about the other 20%, but it was just, it's just an experience that a lot of the kids don't get to see.
Getting some fresh air and eating fresh food, and just it also makes you more involved in learning because you're outside. It's a little bit more fun. It's not as like confined and strict as inside a school building.
Some of the kids that you might have issues with inside the classroom that just get tired of sitting in that desk and just being restricted to that area, once they can come out here, you would be surprised that some of the ones that may struggle with that will thrive out in this setting.
Hey, we could compare snow angels.
You know, a change of scenery is always good for everybody, I think, and breathing in the fresh air as well.
Wind. The wind blows through the pretty leaves of the maple, singing its sweet song.